Okay, so good afternoon. This is Professor Minton, and I decided I'm going to break these videos down into smaller chunks. So the first thing that we have to do um, is to open up your trial balance, which is Media Moguls Exhibit 2 in the content section under Media Moguls of your class. And you should have already recorded this entry here. And if you haven't, then you're not going to be right going forward. You'll never be right going forward. Okay, so if you haven't done that, you need to do so immediately, um, and let me know, and I'll see what I can do to fix your problem. Okay, the next thing is we're going to have to do, and I'm going to come over here to Wave, is we're going to have to add some new accounts. And so the first thing you should probably do is take a look and see what accounts that you have already. And under property, plant, and equipment, you should have buildings, land, office equipment, office furniture, and vehicles. Now, you may have put those under this thing called other long-term assets. And if you have, all you have to do is go out here to your edit button for the ones that are in other long-term assets, because I think it's just better to put them all under one roof. And just come out here to this, and up here where it says other long-term assets, just drop the box down and put in property, plant, and equipment. It's that simple. Okay, so you should have buildings, land, office equipment, office furniture, and vehicles. Down here under depreciation and amortization, and again, if you put it under property, plant, and equipment, just do the edit, go up to the top and change it to depreciation and amortization, this heading here. And so you should have accumulated depreciation vehicles, accumulated depreciation buildings, accumulated depreciation office equipment, and accumulated depreciation office furniture. So come back over here to my chart of accounts and my trial balance, I should say. What I want you to do is I want you to add these. I'd write here 153, 155, 157. The reason I want you to add those is because you're going to have to use them. So it's easier to go ahead and just add all of these accounts that we're going to need, and then trying to do it each time you have to do an entry. And you could do it that way, but that's just more difficult. Next thing is come down here. I want you to add accounts payable and wages payable. I'm sorry, take that back. I want you to add wages payable and salaries payable, and then employers, payroll taxes, um, compensation, workers' compensation, interest payable, unearned revenue, employee benefits payable. In other words, all of these above here except for accounts payable. Okay, and if I come back over to this one, we've already added all of these down here. From here down to here and capital, we've already added those. So you don't have to put those back in, but all of these up here, go ahead and put them in and just use the account numbers, accepting accounts payable, because we do those in a different way. So if I come back over here to Media Moguls, you should be able to see when we look at the liabilities and credit cards, if you come down here to the bottom, other short-term liabilities, and by the way, this is where you have Joey Johnson Motors, 205. I mean, you may have in your thing, it may say A, B, C, and that's fine for this particular application. You wouldn't want to do that in real world, because if you put A, B, you're limited to 26 unless you go then A, B, A, C, like that. It's just easier to give it a numeric value. So if you didn't do that, don't worry about it. Unless you just really want to change it. And if you really want to change it, all you have to do is come out here to the edit this account edit account ID and description, and change that from 205A to 20501. There's nothing big deal about it. Very simple. But do make sure that every time you do one of these things that you come back and save it. Okay. Now, some of these other short-term liabilities that I've talked to you about, which let me see if I can get back to it here. Some of these from wages payable on down, I haven't even put in myself yet. The only ones I have in there are these 6 guys. Okay. Now, back up to the top again once you've done all of that and find income. Income, revenue, same thing. And if you go back over to your trial balance, you have, I think, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. What is that doing? So they're under income now. I want you to add these 5 items: print advertising, radio advertising, television advertising, billboard advertising, and podcast revenue. Okay. Then once you've done that, and remember to save each one of those, go to your expenses. And a lot of the expenses are already there, so I didn't redo the wheel there. I mean, if I had, as an example, I have depreciation expense already there, you know, and I'm not going to redo that. Although, in truth, what you should probably do is you should probably have depreciation expense dash vehicles, depreciation expense dash, you know, all that sort of thing. In a short thing like this, I don't think we have to do that, but I think um, for future classes in this, I'm surely going to add that anyway. But so we don't need depreciation expense. We've already got it. The ones that you see here that are uppercase, these are all ones that I've added. Now, I think down here, what I did, just so that you can see, is utility expense. I made a sub account 50701 for electricity and one for water and one for natural gas. Typically, your water and sewer are included in the same bill. So again, you don't have to do this. You can just leave it at 507 utility expense, be done with it. Okay. I'm just saying that in the real world, we probably want to be more granular than that. We want to be more detailed because detail is what allows us to better manage our business. Okay. And then you're just going to add the rest of those things. In other words, go down through here and add all of these. Okay. Now I added one, 510 internet hosting and access expense, simply because we're all going to have that these days. And there wasn't any place here when I first started. I don't think there's any actual bill that comes up for that in these 3 months either. So it's not like something you have to have. But for future classes, we're going to include that. And I probably will add some others as well and make some kind of wholesale changes so that they can see, future classes can see what they need to do. Okay, so at this point, you should have added several of these items. In other words, the accumulated depreciation under depreciation and amortization. You should have added wages payable and everything else through 210 employee benefit payable. And you don't have to go any further because you've already added these next 6, or should have. Okay. Same thing true for capital. There's no reason to add that. We already changed owner's investment and owner's withdrawals in the account so that we have both as separate items. We can track them better. You need to add all of these, all of the revenue items, and you need to add all of the expense items up through 509. Okay, 510 is, you can do it if you want, don't do it if you don't. Doesn't really matter, but it'll give you extra practice if you want to add it. And that's the end of this video.